everyone, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight we're going to continue with our playthrough of Folklore the Affliction. This is going to be episode 3, and this is part 2 of story 1 and chapter 1. Our group has heard that there is a missing priest and talk of wolves in the north. So we've traveled from the Church of the Crossroads all the way up to Ostelink. And upon our arrival, we met up with a urchin. And the urchin gave us some pretty valuable information. First, she said that the wolves like to hide in deep grass. So that's something that we can store in our memory banks for the future. She also said that there is some type of a meeting happening where all of the townsfolk are at the inn. And they're having a meeting as to what to do. We've arrived at the inn and we've received a very cold welcome from the innkeeper. And now, random character is going to have to make a story check, skill check. It says, as you stick around attempting to gather any information from the crowd, it is apparent that not everyone is happy with you being there. A bottle flies through the air right at you. All right. So we're going to need to do a Trickery 7 skill check, and it's going to be a random character. So we're going to have to determine a random character, and I guess we'll just use a D6. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to determine who is getting the bottle thrown at them. Here's the roll. It's a 4, so that's going to be the Magus. All right, he's got a bottle being thrown at him, and he needs to do a Trickery 7 skill check. Well, he has no trickery bonus, so the only bonus we're going to get to this roll is for the +1 that we're getting from a world event. So we'll get a +1 to this. We need to get a 7 or greater to pass it. We've rolled a 5, and that's modified to a 6, so we failed. It says the bottle strikes you in the head. That hurt. Lose 2 Vita. Okay, so our Magus character is going to drop from 20 down to 18 Vita. And then we're going to read on and see what happens now. So we've got some bottle throwers in the inn. And it says choose your path. The assault by the crowd has upset you. They are gaining confidence having made the first move. They are now getting ready for a good old-fashioned bar fight. Choice 1. If you decide to calm down the crowd to prevent somebody from getting hurt, read Story Moment 37 on page 47. Or, choice 2, if you decide to teach these peasants a lesson for being uncooperative, read Story Moment 58 on page 50. So those are our choices. Well, I don't know about you, but taking a bottle to the head is too much. So I think we are going to choose number 2. And we're going to teach these peasants a lesson. So we're going to read Story Moment 58 on page 50. And that reads, you don't have time to waste on these farmers, but a fight is inevitable. So you decide to take the first shot. Bar fight. Skirmish with an angry mob and apply a -1 to the skirmish counter. Minimum of 1 on the counter. Okay. All right, so we've got an angry mob here. And their skirmish power is lose 1d4 Vita. If the mob's total attack roll is 80 plus, increase the skirmish counter by 1 up to the maximum for the number of characters. All right, this is a dusk mission, so they're going to gain no further benefit to might. First thing we have to do is find out how many members are going to constitute this angry mob. Now, we have 3 players in the game, so it's going to be a d6 worth. And based on the story, we're supposed to subtract 1 from this down to a minimum of 1. So here's the roll. Rolled a 2. So that means there's going to be 1 angry mob member that we have to deal with. And knowing that, I think all of our characters are going to be in attack mode. We won't go into any defense. And that is the current situation. So this angry mob member is going to stand up to the front and say, hey, you're not wanted here, get out. And we're going to teach him a little bit about country manners, I think. So we'll start out with his attack. Here is his attack roll. he gains no benefit, and he's going to have -1 to damage. So if we do get hit, it's going to be at 1d4 -1. Okay, here is his attack roll. Whoops. And he's rolled a 61, and that is going to be applied to each character, testing their defense levels. And all of the characters are well beneath that, so he's going to hit each of the characters. Each one is going to take a d4 -1 damage. We'll start out with our woodsman, and that is Alec Vorster. He rolled a 2, so he's going to take 1 point of damage, and we'll move him from 22 down to 21 vita. Next up is the Magus, that is Sasan Sobhani. And he rolled a 2. He's also going to take 1 point of damage. That'll move him down to 17. 17. And finally, Kane Shears. That is our Witch Hunter. Let's see how much damage he took. Took 1, -1, so he'll take no wound in the process. All right, so now we're going to commence our attacks against that angry mobster. We'll start out with the woodsman, and he's looking for a target value of 42. Okay, here is his attack roll. He is going to gain +4 to might, so we're going to add 4 to this roll. He rolled a 75, and that is well sufficient to take out this angry mobster. He's been put down. Each of the characters is going to gain 6 coins for defeating this guy. And then we're going to make a D10 roll, and if we can get a value of 10, we're going to earn a benefit, and that will be a draw from an item deck. We'll start out with the woodsman. Rolled an 8, so no help there. The Magus, Sasan Sobhani, he does have his rabbit's foot, so he's going to gain +1 to this search roll. He rolled a 1, that's modified to a 2, so no help there. And finally, our Witch Hunter, Kane Shears, his roll is a 4, so we found nothing on this angry mobster. So after taking down that angry mobster, we read on, and it says, the tension leaves as quickly as it escalated. These villagers are scared. It explains their short fuse. But what is more surprising is how defeated they seem once they've calmed down. It's as if they believe no amount of fighting will help. After peace is restored, a farmer approaches you nervously and says, "Your priest passed through my land inquiring about the way to Nurian's Hollow. I told him of a shortcut I know. A day later, crazed wolves came down out of the hills, devouring my livestock and attacking my family. We ran here to Ostelink to find help, but everyone's too scared to leave town. If you agree to destroy these wolves, I will tell you the shortcut." All right, now we have a choose your path. It says, can you spare the time to help? Choice 1, you decide that you cannot spare the time to help him with his woes. Read Story Moment 78 on page 51. Choice 2, you decide to help the farmer with his troubles. Read Story Moment 46 on page 48. Okay. All right. Our current leader is Kane Shears, the Witch Hunter. And I think his position would be, we don't have time for these peasants. Look at the way they've treated us when we came into the inn. And I think Sasan Sobhani, our Magus, would intercede and say, well, it took a lot of courage for him to approach us based upon the other peasants that were in the area. It seems like he's a little bit more courageous than the rest. Maybe he needs us. We should consider that. And I think as a counterpoint, Shears would respond, well, we have this rumor of an exorcism that's occurring in Ostelink, and maybe we should deal with that. And I think Sobhani would probably push for trying to help this guy. So I think we will probably agree to help that man with his problem. So we're going to select choice 2. You decide to help the farmer with his troubles. And we have to read story moment 46 on page 48. That passage reads, "You realize how much courage that it took for this man to approach and ask for help. He was obviously nervous, but overcame his fear. It shouldn't take too much time to deal with a few wolves, and the farmer promised to tell you of a shortcut which will helpfully make up for lost time." And we're supposed to skip to the farm, choice 2 on page 6. And that passage reads, "The farmer leads you out of town and points in the direction of his fields. 'There is my land. I ask you kindly to destroy these wolves.' It is dusk when you reach the farm. The moon hides itself behind a thick layer of clouds, but the stars are bright, allowing you to see well enough. The quiet atmosphere changes as you hear soft growls. Rabid wolves emerge from their hiding places among the tall grass, sniffing the air, their eyes almost seeming to glow. All right, our primary goals are to defeat the rabid wolves. Don't forget to search the bodies for loot. Each character will roll a d10, and those getting a 10 plus will find an item. After the combat, immediately read After the Fight on page 7. Optional goals. Investigate all search locations, available only during combat. We perform a search by rolling a d10, and then there's a table with what we find. Also, it says investigate the Scarecrow map feature, only available during combat. This is a map-based skill check. Pick up the red dice from the board and roll it for the result. It's going to be an Ecology 5 test. So we are instructed to find farm tile FC01A and set up the board accordingly. This is an encounter. It says encounter 3 rabid wolves. Their locations are shown on the map setup diagram. A character with the blue storybook marker gains a +5 might for this combat due to the urchin's warning. Okay. All right, this is our first encounter. So we've laid out board FC01A. We've placed all of the standees in the positions listed on the map setup. In addition to 3 rabid wolves, we've got a stickman and a search token near the well. Our characters will start in the southwestern portion of the board. Part of the optional rules is this stickman. It says here, the scarecrow has fallen off its post. Crows caw at you in mockery. So if we want to investigate that, we'd have to roll the die and find out what happens. We have to pass an Ecology 5 test, any character. Now to set up the initiative board, we begin by each character rolling a d10 and applying any modifiers that we have from the story or abilities or items. And then we mark their position on the initiative board using their ghost standees. Now since we are entering an encounter map, we change over the lead player marker to its opposite side. That's daylight, and we're going to give that to the next player in order, and that is our woodsman, Alec Vorster. He is the leader of the party right now. So we're going to make our D10 rolls for initiative. We'll start out with Alec Vorster. That is the woodsman. He rolls a 6, so we'll place his ghost marker on the 6 space to mark his initiative. We'll do the same for Sasan Sobani, the Magus. He rolls a 6 as well. So we've got 2 characters there, and that's the most that you can have in one initiative block. If somebody else needs to be put there, you put them on the next lower one. And finally, Kane Shears, the Witch Hunter. He rolls a 5, so that is our current initiative, with 10 being the player that will start first and 1 being last. Incidentally, I had the wrong token out for the stickman. This is the correct one to use for this map setup. All right, now our next step is to find out the initiative for each of the foes. We're going to have a red foe. We'll use a red die to mark him, a green one back here, and a blue one here. And then that's going to work alongside with these foe chips that we have. We're going to use them to mark their initiative on the initiative board, and the other token will be used alongside with their foe Vita trackers. So we can keep track of the Vita of each of the foes. Now we have the Rabid Wolf card up on the stand. With 3 players, it has a Vita of 17, and it will have during dusk, it is -5 might. And then these are its special powers. When we roll the D100 die for finding out the attack value, we're also going to have a white die there, and that is going to be its power die. After we add in the modifiers and determine whether it's a hit or not, then the white die will correspond with its power to determine what type of attack it makes: takedown, hamstring, or vicious bite. Now it has a special power. It says if the vicious bite attack has a power die of 0, the chance to become sick changes to sickened 8. Now these creatures have a defense value of 41 and a stride value of 5. If we kill them, we're going to gain 10 lore and 2 coins for each one of them. So we'll make the initiative die roll for the red foe. He has a 3, so we're going to place the red foe on 3, and then this other one will be on the Vita tracker for red. We'll do the green one now. That has an initiative of 8, and we'll place this one on the other Vita tracker for green. Finally, the blue one. That has an initiative of 2. We'll place this one on the other Vita tracker for blue. All right. Now we're going to draw an initiative card and assign it to the initiative board by rolling a d10 and placing the proper flag in that slot. And we'll do the same for a foe card. If the character has the same initiative as where that indicator is, you gain the benefit for it. So we've drawn an initiative card and a foe tactics card. And then we're going to make a d10 roll for each and place that flag accordingly. We'll start out with the initiative card. That is going to be at 10. So we're going to place the C1 marker at 10. And the C1 marker will be placed on the initiative card, and it's dependent upon the number of players involved. Then we'll do one for the foe tactics card. That has a result of 4, so we'll place the F1 in the 4 column, and the other F1 will be up with the foe tactics card. Now we'll find out what the initiative and foe tactics have to do with this battle. We'll examine the initiative card first, and that is for 3 characters, so that's the one we're going to be using. Gives us +8 might and 2 ammo, and that card is called Accurate Aim. All right. The foe tactics card is Double Strike, and this is not a midnight or nightmare, so we'll be using that ability. And it says gain an extra attack each round against a foe you haven't attacked during your turn if possible. And the reward would be immediately make a free loot roll. Okay. Now how this is going to work is for characters, we can spend a power point to move up or down 1 point on the initiative track. So for us, we would like to eventually gain the 10 initiative to be able to take advantage of that C1 ability. Now for the foes, if they're within 1 space of the F1 counter, they will move there automatically. So that red foe is going to move within 1 space to initiative 4, and then they're going to gain the advantage of that F1 ability. Now, if ever we are in an initiative slot where it'll share the position with a character and a foe, the foe would have the tiebreaker according to a certain criteria. And the first one is if the foe is an affliction, they will gain the initiative above a character. Next in line would be a character not in darkness. Then it would be the creature, and then finally characters in darkness. And it says if there's a conflict with foe AI, they prioritize their behavior in the order of story AI, tactic card, and then creature AI. So we're ready to begin the encounter. Now what is going to happen is each character will activate in order of their initiative. So we're going to begin with the green foe, and that's going to be this green rabid wolf. He's going to activate first. Now these are melee characters. That's the symbol on its card that indicates that it will have to be adjacent to a target to attack. So we'll begin by moving the melee foes. The green foe is going to activate. He has a stride of 5, so he's going to move 5 points towards the nearest target. We got a fence here, so he'll have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That'll be his movement. He can't attack anything there, so we'll move on to the next activation. So we'll move our initiative token down to 6, and now either the woodsman or the magus can activate, and if they're tied, we can decide. And I think we'll begin with the woodsman. He has a stride of 5, so we could have him move 5 spaces and try to launch an attack. Now, our woodsman is carrying a woodsman's axe. That's a two-handed weapon. Now, incidentally, while we're in this combat, is the only time that we can interact with these other features on the map. We've got a search token up here in the well, and then we've got this stick man that we can interact with. But we can only do that during the combat. Now, incidentally, these creatures in the upper corner will tell you what type of creature it is. In this case, we've got an old branch there, and that says it's a nature creature. Old tales speak of trees that could walk and talk, sprites that would cultivate the lands in the wilderness before men walked the earth. These creatures are represented by a giant tree. So this is a nature type creature. And that can sometimes have an effect on special abilities that the characters will have. As an example, our woodsman has this ability called taxidermist. It says when searching a nature creature after a combat, you gain +2 to your search roll. And this is a passive ability, so it doesn't cost anything to use that. There might be some other ones around too that we can use, but so we're targeting nature creatures. Now, our woodsman has a special ability called naturalist. Your familiarity with the wilderness gives you an advantage over nature. Gain +1 damage against nature foes. Okay. Now our woodsman also has this special ability, Game Huntsman. It says place a tracking token on a nature or mortal foe to mark them. Your attacks against them receive +5 might. If we spend a power point, we can receive +10. If we spend 2 power points, all characters receive +10 might. Only one target may be marked at a time. So that would cost us, it's an active ability, so it's going to cost our huntsman 1 power point to activate that. And I think he's going to do that. We're going to put a tracking token on this, well, the green wolf already activated. So I wonder if he'd be better served to go after one that had not activated. I think it will be. So I'm going to have the woodsman move. The woodsman has a stride of 5, so we'll have him move 1, 2, and 3. We're going to place a tracking token on that red wolf. It's going to cost us 1 power point. So the woodsman is going to spend one of his power points. We'll move him down to 4. And we've placed a tracking token on that wolf. That's going to give him an extra +5 to might. All right. So now he's going to launch an attack on that red wolf. He's going to gain +1 damage against nature foes. He'll gain +5 for his huntsman ability, and he gains +4 might for his normal might. So we're at +9. So he'll launch his attack +9. We're looking for a 41 or greater to hit that rabid wolf. He rolls a 31. A 31 +9 is 40. It's not enough. So he's missed the rabid wolf. That's unfortunate. Next up is the magus. Now the magus has that storybook moment that it picked up from the urchin. And that's going to give him +5 might for combat due to the urchin's warning about the wolves in the tall grass. So he's going to have that with him. That's +5. So our magus has a stride of 4. I think we'll have him move 1, 2, and 3. And he's going to launch an attack with his falcata against the green rabid wolf. So he'll gain +5 for the storybook moment and +4 for his normal might. So he'll be at +9. Here is his attack roll. He rolled a 003. So that's going to be another miss. We would be at a total of 12. Not doing too good on our attacks here. That'll bring the level 6 initiative players' turns to a close. We'll move on to the level 5, and that's the witch hunter. Now the witch hunter has a crossbow. Now our witch hunter has a special ability, and that's called In the Scope. Gain +5 might with ranged weapons during the first round of combat. That's usable during a skirmish. That's a passive ability, so it won't cost him anything to use that. So we're going to be gaining a +5 for that. Now our witch hunter has a stride of 4. So our choices would be to kind of move in a more central location, or to try to move towards that search token maybe. So I think I'll do that. We'll have him move 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's where he is. And the next foe to activate is going to be the red foe. So I think we're going to use that crossbow to target him. Now if that line of sight would cross any other models, we lose 5 to might for each model that is in between the point where we're launching the attack and the target. So we have a nice clean line of sight there, no problem. So he's going to launch an attack with his crossbow. That's a two-handed weapon. He's going to gain a total of +5 because of his In the Scope ability. And he gains +4 for his normal might. That's +9. So we're going to be adding 9 to this attack roll. He rolled a 28. 28 and 9 is 37, and that's not enough. Boy. Now our witch hunter has a special ability called Tracker, and that says you have superior skill at routing your enemies. Reroll a missed ranged attack or recover 1 ammo, usable during a skirmish. We can use that once per round. That's going to cost us 1 power point. So I think he will do that. We're going to have the witch hunter spend one of his power points, and he's going to re-roll that attack using his tracker ability. Now, incidentally, we used up 1 ammunition when we fired our crossbow, so we are down to 2 ammo left. Now, the ammo gets recovered after the battle, but during the battle, that's the amount of ammunition he has. So we're going to re-roll that attack roll, and we still get our +9. That time we've rolled a 67, so we finally got a hit. 67 plus 9 is 76, so that's definite hit. Okay, now we have to do our damage roll. The crossbow does 1d4 plus 1 damage. And since this is a two-handed weapon, we get to roll the damage die twice and take the higher result. So we're going to roll 2 d4s, and we'll take the higher result out of both of those and then add plus 1 for damage. Here is his damage roll. Okay, the highest roll we've got is a 4. So he has done a total of 5 damage to the red wolf. So we'll take the red wolf and move him down 5. He's at from 17 down to 12. So we've got him down to 12 vita. That's pretty good. Now our witch hunter also has a consumable, and we can use as many consumables as we want. This is vitriol. It says thrown, 1d6 damage, and it has a burst 1. So depending upon where we target it, it's going to spread within one space of that target. So we're going to throw that vitriol, I think, in this spot. And that is going to do a total of 1d6 to all creatures within 1 hex of that space, or 1 square. So we're going to do 1d6 damage to each the red and the green wolves. That's great. So we'll start out with the damage roll on the red wolf. That's a d6 value. And we've done 6 damage to the red wolf. The red wolf now is going to be down from 12 down to 6. So we've done some heavy-duty damage to him. Now we'll roll for the green wolf. We've done 5 to him. So the green wolf will be down to 12. 12 vita left on the green. And then this consumable is consumed. That's removed from the game. Next up is the 4-level initiative foes. Now he has that ability here, double strike. Gain an extra attack each round against a foe you haven't attacked during your turn, if possible. All right, so he's on that F1 initiative track, so he's going to gain the benefit for that. Now he's already in combat position, so he won't move. He's going to launch an attack on the woodsman. Now the woodsman has a defense level of 40. That is his defense level. The rabid wolf, because this is a dusk mission, is -5 might. So we're going to roll the dice, subtract 5 to find out if he hits the woodsman. And if he does, we'll examine the white die, and that will tell us the power at which he's attacking the woodsman with. Here's the roll. He rolled a 55. So 55 minus 5 is 50. He hit him. And we're going to be doing the power 5 is what he's done. He's hamstringed him. The wolf's jaws rip at your hamstrings, lose 1d4 plus 1 vita, and become immobilized 5. All right, let's find out about the damage first of all. 1d4 plus 1. And he rolled a 1. So total of 2 damage to the woodsman. That'll move Alec Vorster's token from 21 down to 19. Now we have to find out about this immobilized 5 ability. All right, checking our keywords, it says immobilized, a negative status. The forces around you prohibit your movement. Receive -10 might. Pass an ecology 5 at the start of each round of your stride, or your stride becomes 0. This status ends when the combat is over. Resist with the trickery skill bonus. All right. So the woodsman can attempt to avoid this immobilized condition. We're going to have to make a trickery, in this case, 5 roll. So we're going to be using a D10, and we'll make a roll and see if he can do it. Now he has no bonus for trickery, so we need to get a 5 or greater, otherwise he will be immobilized. He rolled a 10, so we are free from being immobilized. Evidently he saw the wolf coming at his ankle, and he was able to trick the wolf, and the wolf kind of just did other damage to his leg. It wasn't to his hamstring. And we'll move on to the next activation, and that's the initiative 2. The blue wolf will activate. He has a stride of 5. Now, in melee combat, the foes will always move towards the nearest character. So this blue wolf is going to move 1 and 2 and launch an attack on the witch hunter. Witch hunter has a defense of 38. And he also gains a total of 4 for his leather arm guards. So he's going to be at 42 defense right now. Rabid wolf will roll. He's at -5 because it's a dusk mission. So -5. Here is the roll. He rolled a 25. -5 is 20, and that's a miss. So we have gone through the first order of the initiative board, and we'll reset it for the next round. And that's going to be the green foe will be up again. Now the green foe is in combat position with the magus, so he will be attacking the magus. He's going to be at -5. So we're going to make our D100 roll at -5. The magus has a defense rating of 36. Okay, here is the attack. He rolled an 83. So that is a hit. And it also says here on their special power, is that correct? No, it is not. If the vicious bite attack has a power die of 0. Okay, I thought there was another condition in there. So he's hit the magus. And the magus is going to take a total of, we look at the 3 die to tell us the power, and it's going to be takedown. The wolf leaps at you and swings its clawed paw. Lose 3 vita and get pushed 1. So our magus character is going to lose 3 vita. It's going to take him down from 17 down to 14, and he's going to get pushed 1. That means that you get pushed back 1 space in the direction that the wolf was attacking you. So he's going to be pushed back there. Now when you're pushed, if you move into another character or foe, that individual is going to take 1d4 damage for you being pushed into them. In addition, the person being pushed takes an additional 1d4 vita damage. So we'll roll for the magus and see how much extra damage he takes from the push. And it's a 4. That is not good. The magus is now down to 10 vita. That is not good. All right. That completes the green activation. We'll move on to initiative 6, and then it would either be the woodsman or the magus. I think we'll have the woodsman activate. He has a stride of 5. And we're going to have him, we can't go through his space. We can do it. There is a advanced combat procedure that allows that. It costs us some movement points. And that is evade. Characters may move through foes by spending a power point. Movement through the foe costs 2 strides. So we won't do that. We're going to move around him though. So we have 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to launch an attack on that red foe by the woodsman. He's using his woodsman's axe. Now he still has the tracking token on him, so the woodsman is going to gain an extra 5 to his might. So he's going to gain a total of 5 might for that, 4 for his normal might. So we'll be adding 9 to the attack roll. We're looking for a total of 41. Here is the roll. He rolled an 82, so that's a definite hit. No doubt about it. Now the woodsman's axe is a 2-handed weapon. He's going to do a total of 1d4 plus 1. So we're going to roll 2d4s, take the larger of the 2, and then add 1 to the result. Here is the damage to the red wolf. And our largest die is, both of them are 4s. So he's going to take a total of 5 damage to the red wolf. That's going to move him down from 6 all the way down to 1. He's just barely hanging on to life there. All right. That'll be the woodsman's turn. Now the woodsman can use any type of consumable items. He can also interact with a feature on the map if he was adjacent or in the space with it. He's not. Well, let's see what the woodsman has here that he could use. He's got bandages, and he can also lay down traps. So, that's interesting. Woodsman right now is at 19 Vita, so it's not critical for him. I think we'll move on now to the Magus. He is next in line. And we'll begin by moving. And I think the Magus is going to move and try to take out that red wolf. He is down to just 1 Vita left. So we'll have him move 1 and 2. And we'll move him into position there. And he's going to launch an attack with his Falcata. Now his Falcata has the keyword sacred. And we could roll the attack dice twice if we were attacking a demonic or undead creature. So it won't qualify for it in this case. So our Magus will launch his attack on the red wolf. He's going to gain 5 because of the story points that he earned from the urchin, and then he gets his normal +4 might. So we have +9. Here is the roll against the red wolf. He rolled a 61. He's got him. 61 + 9 is 70. He's hit him, and he's going to do a total of 1d4 damage. And we'll roll that out, but no matter what we roll, it's going to be enough to get him. So here is the roll. He's done 1 point of damage to him, and that's enough to kill the red wolf. We've got him. So we'll remove his token from the map, and we'll also remove his Vita tracker. He was at 1, he's down to 0. And we'll keep that off to the side for counting, because we're going to gain some lore and some coins from that. All right, next up is our initiative 5 players, and that's going to be the Witch Hunter. Now he has 2 loads of ammo left for his crossbow. I think what we'll do is we'll have him move back towards the well where he can try to investigate that, and at the same time he's going to take a shot at the blue wolf, I believe. So we'll have him move up to his stride is 4. 1, 2, 3. We'll have him move there. Then he's going to take a shot with his crossbow. All he's going to gain is his +4 might for his attributes. So we're looking for a target value of 41 or greater. Here's the roll. He rolled a 34, so that's going to be modified to a 38, and that's a miss. So he's down to 1 ammo. And I think he's going to use his tracker ability. That'll cost us 1 power point. So the Witch Hunter is going to use one of his power points. That'll move him down from 4 down to 3. 3 power points. And that allows him to either re-roll a missed ranged attack or recover 1 ammo. And I think he'll use that to recover an ammo. So we're going to move him back up to 2. And that's pretty good. All right. Continue on in the initiative. The red foe is gone, so we can remove him from the board. That'll be all the way down to the blue foe. And that is this blue rabid wolf. He's going to move to the nearest character, and that would be the woodsman. So he's going to use his stride to move there and launch an attack on the woodsman. The woodsman has a defense value of 40. Did I do that right? Yeah, I think I made a mistake. I ended up assigning the leather arm guards to the, should be with the woodsman. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. And I gave the card to the witch hunter somehow. So that's wrong. I'm going to give that to the woodsman. He's at a +4 for defense. All right, so in this case, we're going to make the attack roll. The rabid wolf is going to be at -5 because it's a dusk mission. So he's looking to hit the defense of Vorster, which is a 40. Here is the roll. He rolled a 69, so that'll be modified to a 64. That's a hit. And the Power die is a 9. It says vicious bite. Your flesh is torn by a mouth foaming with blood and pus. Lose 4 vita and become sickened 4. All right, so he's going to lose 4 vita, and that is our woodsman. He's at 19. That'll move him down to 15. And we got to find out about this sickened condition. Sickened says a negative status. A foul malaise has stricken you, reducing your effectiveness in combat. In an encounter, roll damage dice twice and take the worst result. Resist with the ecology skill bonus. All right, well, the woodsman does have a +2 to ecology, so he's going to have to make a ecology roll, and in this case it's a sickened 4, so we need to get a 4 or greater with the D10. All right, and he's going to get +2 because of his ecology bonus. Here's the roll. He rolls a 6. That's modified to an 8, so he's past that, so he will not become sickened. That's great. Now we'll move on to a new round, beginning with the green foe. All right, the green foe is not in combat position, so he's going to attack the nearest character. In this case, they're equal range. So we'll roll to see a targeting roll to see who he attacks. And we'll use a odd or even. It's even, so he's going to go after the woodsman. So he'll move up here, and he's going to launch his attack on the woodsman. Woodsman has a defense of 40, and the rabid wolf is at -5 for the dusk mission. So here is his attack roll on the woodsman. He rolled an 84. 84, that's modified to a 79, so he's hit him. And the power die is a 4, so that is going to be takedown. The wolf leaps at you and swings its clawed paw. Lose 3 vita and get pushed 1. So he's pushed against the fence and he can't go back any farther. So he's going to take just what it says, 3 vita loss to the woodsman. That'll move him down to 12 from 15. And then he's going to take 1d4 for being pushed into the fence. So we'll see what that is. He rolls a 3, so 3 additional damage on the woodsman. That's going to take him down to 9. All right, so he's at 9 vita, and that finishes up that green rabid wolf attack. And now we'll move on to the next in order, and that is the woodsman himself. All right, well, the blue foe is undamaged, but the green foe has 12 vita left on him. So I think the woodsman, he's kind of getting trapped in there. So he can do some movement. I think he'll move here to the side, and then he's going to launch an attack on that green rabid wolf. Now the woodsman is going to use his game huntsman ability, and that's once per round we can put a tracking token on a nature or mortal foe to mark them, and our attacks will receive +5 might. So that's what we'll do. We're going to place a tracking token on that green wolf. It's going to cost him a power point, so his power points now are down to 3. He's got 9 vita with 3 power points left. So he'll launch an attack on that green wolf. And he's going to get +5 for that and +4 for his normal might. He's using the woodsman's axe. Here is the attack. He rolled a 62, and that is a successful attack. So now he's going to do 1d4 +1, and because this is a 2-handed weapon, he can roll 2 dice and take the higher of the 2 results. Okay, here is the roll. Highest result is a 3. So he's done a total of 3 +1, 4 damage to the green wolf, and we'll move him down from 12 down to 8. So he's at 8 vita. All right, and that is going to bring the woodsman's turn to a close, but I think what he will do, he's going to use one of his consumables. And the woodsman is going to use some bandages, and that says recover 4 vita. So we'll have the woodsman brought up from 9 up to 13 vita. I think it's a good time to use those bandages. All right, bandages are consumed. And that is going to end his activation. And we'll move on to the Magus. The Magus is not in contact with anyone yet. I think what he's going to do, he'll move up one space and launch an attack on the green wolf with his Falcata. So he's going to gain +4 for his might and +5 because of the storybook element in there. So he's at +9 for this attack. We're looking for a 41 or greater. And he rolled a 74. That's more than enough to hit that wolf. So his Falcata is going to do a 1d4 damage. And I also forgot something. Magus is blessed. He should get an extra 5 might and 1 absorption. I forgot about that. See, there's a lot of moving parts in this game, so it's easy to forget stuff. And the only way you can handle it is if you don't take advantage of it. That's your fault. So in this case, we're going to gain a d4 damage on the green wolf. And we rolled a 2. So 2 damage will be added, taken away from the green wolf. That'll move him down to 6. He's down to 6 now. All right, and that's going to end the Magus's turn. Magus right now is at 10. And I'm wondering, we can use some of our consumables, and I think we will. The Magus is going to use his vitriol. It's thrown for 1d6 damage, and it will do a push 2 against the rabid wolf. It recoils from that vitriol. So he's going to do 1d6 damage, and then we're going to push that wolf 2 spaces. So that wolf will be moved in that direction 2 spaces, 1 and 2. Let's move back to there. It's still targeted, and it's going to do 1d6 damage for the vitriol. 3 points of damage. That'll take the green wolf down to 3. And then he's going to get 1d4 for being pushed. Here's the d4 roll. That's a 2. So that thing is still hanging on. It's got 1 vita point left. Okay, and that is the Magus's turn. He does have bandages, and I'm wondering if maybe we should use those. He's at a 10 vita. I think I will. The Magus is going to use his bandages, and he'll recover 4 vita. That'll move him up to 14. So he's at 14 now. These are consumed. And so we'll move on now to initiative 5, and that is the Witch Hunter. He's going to move, I think, adjacent to the well. 1, 2. And that will allow him to interact with that, and he still has a line of sight with his crossbow against the green rabid wolf. We'll start out with the crossbow attack on the green rabid wolf. So that'll move his ammunition down to 1, and we'll have him launch the attack. He's going to gain +4 might for his normal ability, and since we have the tracking token is on, yeah, it's on him. So we're going to gain an additional +5. Is that correct? No, the tracking token is from the woodsman, so we don't get that. So all we're going to gain then is +4 might for our normal might ability. Okay, we need to get a 41. 76, he's hit him. He got him. And he's going to do a total of 1d4 plus 1. And because that is a two-handed weapon, we roll 2 d4s and take the higher value. Highest value is a 4, so we've done 5 damage to the green wolf. And he's done. He was at 1, so he's down to 0. So we can remove that green wolf from the board and take off his initiative token. And all that's left now is we do get an act each turn. And he's going to interact with that clue token that's by the well. When we interact with the map feature, it always tells us, gives us a table that we're going to roll against. In this case, it says investigate search locations. Available only during combat. Perform a search and roll a d10. So we're going to roll a d10 and see if we can find something in that well. Here is the roll. The result is a 4, and it says nothing happens. So that search token is removed from the board. You can only interact with it once, and that's it. Okay, that's going to end the turn then for the Witch Hunter, and then we'll move on now to Initiative 2, and that is the Blue Wolf. He is undamaged currently. He's going to move and attack the nearest character. These are equidistant, so we will make a targeting roll, odd or even. And it is even. He's going after the Magus. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3. And he's going to launch an attack on the Magus. Magus has a defense of 36. The Rabid Wolf is at -5. So we'll make the roll and see if he is successful. -5. He rolled a 36. 36 minus 5 is 31, and that's insufficient to hit the Magus. He's avoided him. That's great. So our Blue Wolf has activated, and we'll start a new round, beginning with our level 6 in this case, the Woodsman or the Magus. I think we'll have the Woodsman activate, and he's going to move. He's going to move one there, I believe. Yeah, we'll do that. The Woodsman is going to launch his attack against the Blue Rabid Wolf. He gains +4 for his might, and I don't think we're going to use the Game Huntsman ability. It's where we can target a creature. I think we'll try to do it without it. The Woodsman is already at 3 power points, so I think we'll save some of those. We'll launch our attack. We need to get a 41. We have a +4. He's using the Woodsman's axe. He rolls a 76. That is a hit. He's done it. And he's going to do a total of 1d4 + 1. And this is a two-handed weapon, so we'll roll 2 dice and take the higher of the 2. And the highest roll is a 3. So we've done 4 damage to the Blue Wolf, and that'll move him down to 14. 17 down to 13. Yeah. 13. Okay, so that is the Woodsman's attack. He doesn't want to use any consumables, so that'll be it for the Woodsman. We'll move on to the Magus. Now the Magus is going to probably use his Falcata, so I think he will just stay where he is, and he'll launch his attack. He gains +5 because of the storybook knowledge, +4 for his might. So we're at +9. +9. Okay, and we'll launch the attack. He rolled 52. 52 and 9 is 61. That's more than enough to hit the wolf. His Falcata will do 1d4 damage. Okay. I also forgot he was also blessed. He would have gained an extra 5 might. So we didn't need it, but got to remember those. Okay, here's the damage roll against the Rabid Wolf. Roll is a 1, so we've done 1 point of damage, moving that wolf down to 12. Okay. So we're going to move on now to the next in line, and that's the Witch Hunter. He's going to move. He's got 4 stride. So we'll have him move into the clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have to try to get a line of sight on that wolf. Line of sight is determined from any corner that the character occupies to any corner of the target. So in this case, we would go from there to that corner, and that would put him in line of sight with not being affected by the Woodsman being in the way. If that character was in the way, we would lose 5 to our might. So we've got a clear line of sight. The Witch Hunter is going to use his last ammo, and he is going to target the Blue Wolf. We gain +4 might. We don't have a tracking token on that, so all we get is +4. All right, we'll make the roll and see if we can hit him. +4. We rolled a 73, and that is a hit. And we've got a crossbow, which is a two-handed weapon. We're going to roll 2d4 because of its two-handed ability, and we'll add 1 to the result, and that is the damage the wolf will take. Highest roll is a 3. It's modified to 4, and the wolf loses 4 more. He's down to 8. He's down to 8. Okay. And that is going to end it for the witch hunter. Now he does have some bandages. He's currently at 21. He hasn't taken any damage yet, so we don't have to worry about that. That'll end that, and we'll activate the blue wolf for combat. Now he's already in combat position, so he'll decide which one to attack, odd and even. And that is an odd result. He's going after the magus. Okay, he's going to launch an attack on the magus. The magus has a 36 defense, and here is his roll. He's at -5 for the dusk mission. He rolled a 60, so he's hit him. He's definitely done it, and this is a 0. That's not good. It says if the vicious bite attack has a power die of 0, the chance to become sick changes to sickened 8. So that is tough. We're going to take a vicious bite. Flesh is torn by a mouth foaming with blood and pus. Lose 4 vita and become sickened 4. Well, in this case, it's sickened 8. So the magus is going to take a total of 4 damage. That'll move him down to 10. Now, I forgot the magus is blessed. So he has absorption 1. That means that the first hit that he takes is not counted. So in fact, the magus is at 11 vita, not 10. All right, now we have to figure out what's going on with this sickened condition. And reading that, it says it's a negative status, and we can resist this with an ecology skill bonus. All right, so in this case, he doesn't have an ecology bonus. What he does have is the 1+1 for all skill checks because of the world event. So we'll be rolling a d10, and we're looking for an 8 or better. We have +1, otherwise he is going to be sickened. He rolled a 5. 5 + 1 is 6. That's not enough. Let's see if there's anything else the magus has here that he can use. And not really. Nope. Okay, so he's going to become sickened. We have to get a sickened token out. So the magus is going to gain this sickened token. We have to roll for damage twice and take the worst result. So we'll place that on the magus's sheet. That's going to end the blue wolf's activation. We'll move on to a new round, and that is the woodsman and the magus himself. And I think we will move on to the magus. Now we can also make our declarations for attack and defense. If we wanted one of the characters to move into a defensive status, we can do that. That gives us a +10 to defense and a -10 to might. So I think we might want to do that. We can do that at the start of each initiative, make that declaration. So I think we are going to declare that the magus is going into a defensive mode, and I'll mark him accordingly. The other 2 will stay on attack. And the magus now is going to activate. We'll have him move. And I think he's going to move. You can move through a friendly model, but not an enemy one, without paying additional fee on that. So he has a stride of 4. We'll have him move 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's just going to defend there. Next up is the woodsman. And he is going to move, I think, straight in front of that wolf, and he's going to start a hacking with his woodsman's axe. So he's going to gain a +4 might for his normal attributes, and we're going to make the roll now and see if he can hit this thing. +5. We need to get a 41 or better. Here's the woodsman's attack. He rolled a 44, so we're at 49. That's sufficient to get a hit. We're using the woodsman's axe. That's a d4 + 1. It's a two-handed weapon, so we can roll 2 dice and get the better of the 2 results. Here's the damage to the wolf. And both of them are 3s, so we'll have a total of 4 damage on the wolf. That'll move him from 8 down to 4, so he's barely hanging on. All right. The woodsman really doesn't have anything else that he's going to do. He could use some of these traps. You're able to lay down these traps when you move to a space, and then the creature doesn't see it. It'll move over it and flip the trap. So I think we'll leave a trap there, and then maybe next turn we can pull back one and the wolf will move to attack us and we'll set it off. So we'll do that. We'll move down now to the witch hunter. All right. Witch hunter has no ammunition left. So I think what he'll do is he's going to use his tracker ability, and that's going to cost him once per round. He can spend a power point, and we'll do that. It'll move him down to 2 power points, and he can recover 1 ammo. So that's what he'll do. We'll give him 1 ammo. That will be his act, and I think he will just stop there. There's really not much else he can do. So one thing he can do is we can use these smelling salts. He has this object smelling salts, exhaust, to heal 1 vita to 1 target. So he'll target the magus, and the magus will recover 1 vita. He's up to 12 now. Might as well use it. When you exhaust it, it's tipped, and then at the end of the combat, it'll be reinstated, or at least most of them will. All right, that's where we're at. So we'll move on now to the blue wolf, and he's already in combat position. He's going to attack the woodsman. Woodsman is at 13 vita. He has a defense of 40. Here's the creature's attack, -5 for the dusk mission. He rolled 13. He's missed. That is great. So that's going to end the round. We'll move on to a new round, and we can make our declarations now if we want to be on offense or defense. And we're getting close to killing this thing, so I think we will just keep it at as we have it. The magus will stay in defense, I believe, yes. And we will activate the woodsman. Woodsman will activate. He's already in combat position. He'll make his attack. He's using the woodsman's axe, and another one I forgot about it, he has a special ability, Naturalist. Your familiarity with the wilderness gives you an advantage over nature. Gain +1 damage against nature foes. So we should have been gaining +1 extra for this. Okay, here's his attack roll. He has a +4 for his normal might. Okay, +4. We're looking for 41. He rolled 76. He's got him. So we're going to be doing a total of 1d4 damage. We're using a 2-handed weapon. We get +1 for his special ability, so we're gaining +2 to the roll. Here is the roll. He's got a 4. That's the higher of the 2 dice. That's a total of 6. And we've killed that last wolf. He's done. That's great. Okay. Now, based on the card, for each wolf that we killed, we're going to gain 10 lore and 2 coins. I don't know how the coins get into it. Maybe the wolf swallowed it, or it's stuck in its fur, maybe. I'm not sure. But that's what each of the characters is going to gain. So we've fought a total of 3 of them. Each character is going to get 30 lore and 6 coins. All right, so following the attack, the woodsman is up to 45 lore. Sasan Sobani, our magus, is up to 30. And Kane Shears is up to 38 lore. Now we're going to make a roll, and we're going to investigate the bodies. And we will search them for loot. First up is the woodsman. We're looking for a result of 10. Rolled a 6, no help there. Next is the magus, and he has that rabbit's foot, so that's going to give him a +1 for search rolls. Here's his roll. He rolled a 10, so that's a total of 11. We draw a free item card. That's great. And we end up finding a large cleaver. Okay, I don't know how the wolf could have had a cleaver on him, but that's what it has. It may be thrown as an extra attack. So one-handed weapon, melee weapon, does 1d4 + 1. Has a value of 10. Well, we'll put this in the magus's backpack. It's always good to have a secondary weapon. It is a chance that your weapon can fail and it can break. If you roll a 1 on an attack roll, that weapon is damaged until it's repaired by a tinkerer. So finally, we're going to make the roll now for Cane Shears. And that is our witch hunter. He rolled a 2, so that is the end of the combat. And that's how the combat works. It's really an interesting system with this initiative board and with the initiative card and the foe cards. Very, very interesting system. And then we read the portion. It says, after the fight. After the wolves are dealt with, the farmer tells you, beyond is a path that will take you to an old burial ground. The mausoleum there houses a long-forgotten entrance into the caves of Nurian's Hollow. That's where the priest went. He agrees to show you his shortcut and offers to join you. The leader gains the farmer companion. All right, well, our current leader right now is the woodsman. So the woodsman is going to gain the farmer companion. That's +1 to ecology and +1 to maximum vita. All right, and he is a melee in combat. So we'll give that to the woodsman. That's great. All right. And I think this is a good opportunity to end the video here. We've gotten our first encounter done, and the characters have earned some lore and some coins in the fact, and not to mention a farmer ally, which is great. I think in the future I'm going to try to bring this to the channel once or twice per month, and that'll be kind of the filming schedule for Folklore the Affliction. And we'll just periodically, as we return back to the game, we'll eventually build up a collection of videos, and it'll be an entire series of the different stories and chapters of Folklore the Affliction. I'm having a great deal of fun presenting this game to you. It is quite difficult to keep all of the modifiers in mind when you're resolving the stuff, but with a little concentration, it's not a problem. And if we do forget a modifier here or there, it's not a big deal. So that's going to end the video at this point, and we're going to return probably at the start of May with another set of 1 or 2 videos, and we'll pick up right where we left off with our characters. So in the meantime, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.